wonder if this still works. There's no reason why people, any entity that has money should be able to take something away from someone who does not have money. I always used to play with these things when I was a kid. We are at 1500 Frankfurt Ave. It is the house that I grew up in. We didn't have a lot of money. This was all normal to us. The yard that's filled with trash and junk, I played in there on that trash and junk.
Lindsay Franklin's family home was targeted by a neighborhood nonprofit. The organization used an obscure state law that allows neighbors, municipalities, or nonprofits to sue for the right to take over a blighted, abandoned property, bring it up to code, sell it to a developer, and collect a substantial chunk of the proceeds. It's called Act 135.
We just have to rush around and make sure that these things are safe. I don't want it to be trashed if they win.
Franklin was raised in the Fishtown home by her grandparents and aunt. But by 2019, Denise Pomeroy, Franklin's aunt, lived in the family home alone. Then she collapsed on her front steps and had to move to a rehab care center, leaving the home empty.
We figured, once she got out of the rehab, she would live here and we would, fix things up slowly. That's what we've always been able to do. We were blindsided because we had no idea about Act 135.
The Fishtown-Kensington Area Business Improvement District filed the Act 135 petition for the Frankfurt Avenue home in June of 2023.
I literally lived right on the other side of the street. And neighbors started calling in where they were concerned regarding the back had collapsed. There was an old rusted out car in the yard. The windows were wide open on the upper level. It's right on the corner, right in the prime part of the corridor. That's part of our mission, is to how do we improve the quality of life and the vitality of the commercial corridor.
The Pomeroys fought the case in court, but as they fought, Denise Pomeroy's health worsened.
She had COVID and she was isolated, and we didn't know that she had gotten an infection in her heart and her kidneys stopped working. So they had moved her to a hospital. And that was it. The day before Christmas Eve, we lost her. Our last interactions they weren't happy ones. And her voice just keeps echoing in my head. I just hear it over and over about how we weren't gonna win. And I've been so determined to just have this go in our favor, and it just doesn't seem like that's going to be the case.
Act 135 was created in 2008, but it was rarely used. Until in 2014, legislators revised the law to incentivize more use, giving nonprofits that took over a property a cut of up to 20% of its sale price. By 2016, the number of Act 135 cases filed each year in Philadelphia had more than doubled. But a 2023 analysis found Act 135 petitions were disproportionately filed against Black and Asian American property owners and in areas at a high risk of gentrification.
I think
Shane Randall discovered for himself how the law had shifted the balance of power. Randall was beginning to renovate an inherited family home in Graduate Hospital when Sholi Turco, a nonprofit that specializes in blight removal, filed an Act 135 petition.
Okay, here we go. It's a kind of like an ancestral home. It's been in our family since the 20s when my great-grandmother migrated here. I had everything, planned out. Currently my wife is pregnant right now. So we was actually gonna make it our dream house.
A next-door neighbor said she contacted Sholi Turco because the decaying row home was causing serious damage to her house.
My understanding is the property had a lot of external blight. When we got inside, it was probably the worst property that I've dealt with during my tenure with Sholi Turco.
So this when the guy came to...
Randall asked for time to address the issues. After 6 months of work, he attempted to present evidence of repairs, but the court ruled the work was substandard.
So I brought all these pictures to court.
Sholi Turco was granted control over the house and poured money into repairs before selling to a developer for $400,000. After the expenses were paid, there wasn't any sale money left for Randall.
the neighbors feel much better that the defects and the blight, both inside and outside, have been cured, and I think they feel better about their own structural integrity of their own homes.
We're not in this to, support gentrification or any kind of other motives other than this is a blighted house. It's hurting the neighborhood. It's hurting the families.
I lost everything. I lost my job. I lost the house. I lost all the money I put in the house. I don't know. Pick something in your family that's kind of like dear to them, and then you be the one that lose it. So that's rough.
Uncle Ron, Aunt Kathy, this is Emily.
Back in Fishtown, Lindsay Franklin and her family had garnered widespread support from the community after a viral Facebook post about the Act 135 petition. In January, neighbors organized a watch party to show their support at a court hearing over Zoom.
The mere filing of an Act 135 petition prevents the fair market value sale of this property.
And a month later, Franklin and her family agreed to sell their property to a developer. They said selling the home while the lawsuit was in negotiation still seemed like their best option. In the wake of the outcry, the Business Improvement District waived their 20% fee in the settlement.
We as a bid, we won't be doing another one. If the will of the public isn't behind you, we have a lot we do.
So the BID needs to remove.
The case has drawn attention to Act 135. Franklin recently spoke at City Council in support of a hearing which will look into issues with the law.
From the moment the Act 135 petition was filed against us, we felt as though we were targeted.
I'm absolutely going to continue to advocate for people in my position. There needs to be changes made to this act. It cannot go on like this, being exploited and just used to take generational wealth. So many people know about this now, and so many people are willing to stand up and say, hey, this is so wrong, like this needs to change.